Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to continue my coverage of the Steam Winter Sale. Now, these videos, you guys might not like them all too much, because this is where we talk about the games that are a little bit more expensive. I know, but these are still all under the price of $20, and some of these publishers, man, their games just hold up in price for eons and eons. I'm looking at you, Square Enix, but nonetheless, they've still got some great deals available, so I thought I would cover those. We've got 15 deals under the price of $20, so let's just get right into it, and let's get started with one of the aforementioned Square Enix deals, and that is NieR Automata. It is 60% off for $15.99. NieR Automata is an absolutely excellent game. From a soundtrack standpoint, it's one of the best soundtracks you can come across. Gameplay is great. Visuals still hold up quite nicely. I think from an art direction standpoint, it's great. Narratively, the NieR titles can be a bit confusing, but they come together quite nicely by the end, and I feel like overall they're very much worthwhile experiences to go through. For $15.99, like, Automata's held up in price. It came out 8.5 years ago, but man, is it a fantastic game, and even at that price, I would easily recommend it. Just a great game, and definitely check that out, and after you beat that, I would recommend you to play NieR Replicant. Honestly, it might not be a bad idea to play NieR Replicant first, but it really doesn't matter. Like, you can play them both, and yeah, $15.99 on Automata, great deal there. Next up, we do have Death Stranding Director's Cut. This is down to $15.99 as well. Death Stranding is very much an acquired taste. Some people absolutely love it, like your boy. Other people, you know, they view it as FedEx delivery simulator, and they don't get that into it. I thought Death Stranding was awesome, man. However, you gotta really know what you're getting yourself into. This game is more about the atmosphere. It is about going from point A to point B and taking in the environments and the sound design, and I think all of that is done really well. I think narratively, it's a little bit confusing, but again, another game that by the end, I think it is a pretty satisfying experience, and you know, Death Stranding 2 is a far superior game, but I still think Death Stranding 1 is worth playing, and 2 isn't even available on PC, and even with 2, you don't want to jump into 2 without playing Death Stranding 1, so definitely recommend Death Stranding 1. Great game, $15.99, good pickup there. Let's just go through a bunch of the Final Fantasy games. You got Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remastered, 60% off for $11.99. I love Final Fantasy X. It's one of the most iconic Final Fantasy games of all time, and it was really, you know, at the time, a very big technical breakthrough in the sense of showcasing what the PlayStation 2 could do. Final Fantasy X, for a lot of people, was that game, and it turned out to be a great turn-based JRPG as well. I love the sphere grid, love the story overall, and by the way, this does include Final Fantasy X-2 HD Remaster, which is, you know, not as good as Final Fantasy X, but I still think a pretty decent game. I think Final Fantasy X, the base game, or excuse me, X-2, gets a bad rap just because of a variety of reasons, but I still think it's a decent game, and guess what? For $11.99, FF10 by itself is easily worth it, so just look at X-2 as a bonus that you can play, you don't have to, but you get both games, $11.99 there. Next up, we have Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, 60% off for $19.99. This is one of those Final Fantasy games that's really interesting to assess. I remember when it came out back in 2006, and there was a little bit of a divisive opinion. It had this battle system that was more akin to like an MMO action system rather than the turn-based system a lot of people knew. You know, I think that put some people off. Narratively, I think there's a lot of strong narrative elements, but I think the issue with narrative, with the game's narrative, is you do have a weak main character. Relative to characters like Titus and Cloud and so on and so forth, Vaughn is really just not a compelling main character. However, you do have a quality cast that's around there. You have characters like Ash that I think take the helm of this story and are likable. And for $19.99, I think Final Fantasy XII is a really good pickup. It's a game that you can spend a lot of time with, and like I said, the overall story is good. I love the quickening system. I thought that was pretty cool, and for $20, again, I think it's a pretty good pickup. And then, I want to give a shout out to Final Fantasy 15 as well. That's 60% off for $13.99. You can get the complete edition with Episode Ardent for $15.98. Final Fantasy 15 was one of my most anticipated games of all time as it was coming out, and, you know, it didn't live up to the expectations I had, and a big expectation I had was for an incredibly compelling narrative. Unfortunately, this game from a story standpoint is so disjointed. The DLC does help out, and the enhancements they made do help out, but overall, like, narratively, this has got to be one of the weakest Final Fantasies of all time. There's like from a standpoint of just viewing the game, you can tell that there were good ideas there. They just weren't put together and executed well. And that is the issue with Final Fantasy 15. It's an issue of execution, and a lot of it is just so poorly done. But the open world is still gorgeous, the visuals are gorgeous, the gameplay's enjoyable, albeit a bit easy, and I think for $13.99, it's a good pickup, and $15.98, excuse me, with episode Arden, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, this game was scheduled to get some other DLC to flesh out the story as well, ended up being canceled, which I think is a gigantic bummer, but yeah, one of the most tumultuous development cycles for a game ever as well, and yeah, had its issues, but still a game that I quite enjoyed and I would recommend it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, 85% off for $10.49. Certainly do play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order first, and by the way, you can get Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor for $13.03, and yeah, Jedi Survivor is notorious for being one of the worst PC ports of all time, and it certainly still has its issues. However, recent reviews of Jedi Survivor have upped it to mostly positive at 74% positive, so take that for what you will. Jedi Survivor, if it was a good PC version, probably would have been my game of the year of 2023. That's how much I like this game. And I think it's a significant improvement over Jedi Fallen Order. I thought the story was really good. I thought the gameplay was great. The optional content was really good. For $10.49, man, this is a really, really good pickup. Just be mindful of the lackluster PC version. And, you know, was it playable? Yes, but dude, when I played this game when it came out, I am not kidding you guys, I was running an RTX 3080 at the time, and this game dipped down to like 15 frames per second, 14 frames per second. It was absolutely egregious how bad this game was at launch, and ridiculous. And what's crazy is EA sent me a pre-release copy of this game, and you know, shout out to them for sending out, like, because generally what happens a lot of the times is when publishers will send out review copies and they know it's a bad PC version, because let's be honest, like, everybody knows when a PC version is as bad as Jedi Survivor is, or Last of Us Part 1, or etc., you kind of know that when you're sending it out, oh, this is a garbage version, but EA still sent me a PC code. You know, Last of Us Part 1 was handled a little bit differently, and that was the red alarm on that, as was Spider-Man 2, but, yeah, kind of interesting how that went down. But yeah, the game was a disaster is what I'm getting at from a performance standpoint, but it's better now, and I think the game is just so good that I would recommend it at $10.49, but again, just be mindful about the lackluster version. But you're buying it on Steam, you do have the 2-hour window for a refund, so keep that in mind as well, so that'll be pretty good. Next up, Red Dead Redemption 2, 75% off for $14.99, one of the greatest video games of all time, in my opinion. I just think this game is absolutely outstanding, one of the greatest open world games of all time, and just generally one of the best games of all time. Arthur Morgan is one of the best video game main characters of all time as well, and just an outstanding game. Yeah, highly recommended. I've talked about this game ad nauseum. It's in the pantheon of the greatest video games of all time, and for this price point, obviously very much worth it. Next up, we got Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, 67% off for $16.49. Yes, I can go on a rant about how much we need Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection on PC, but I just don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Legacy of Thieves Collection gets you Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy. Both of those games are quite good, man. Uncharted 4 is my second favorite Uncharted game behind Uncharted 2. I thought it was a great game. I know narratively people had their issues with the inclusion of Sam and whatnot, but I still thought overall, man, the game was great. The set pieces are great, and yeah, had a lot of fun with it, and for this price point, definitely think that's a good buy. And Lost Legacy is pretty solid as well. It's not like a blowaway on the level of the major Naughty Dog releases, but it's still a pretty decent time, all things considered, and I think for $16.49 to get both of those, a really great pickup there. Next up, we have Hi-Fi Rush, 40% off for $17.99, and when I think about it, given the fact that Star Wars Jedi Survivor was such a trash PC version, and that Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 weren't really my cups of tea, for me, my 2023 game of the year was probably Hi-Fi Rush. That's how much I liked Hi-Fi Rush. I thought this game was absolutely outstanding. A music rhythm game crossed with a hack-and-slash action title, just done really well. The characters are so likable. I thought Chai and 808, a no-brainer to become, like, main character mascots for Microsoft and the Xbox brand. And what happened with them? Oh, Tango Gameworks gets shut down. Thankfully, Krafton came in, Tango Gameworks was saved, and Hi-Fi Rush as an IP will probably stick around, and if they do a Hi-Fi Rush 2, I am buying that game all day long, and I'll be doing videos on it, telling everybody to buy. But Hi-Fi Rush was fantastic, like a solid 8 to 10 hour main campaign, but then after that there is post-game content and reason to go back and play. It's a fantastic game, and I highly recommend it. For $17.99, it's a little bit on the pricier side, but it's very much worth it. Like I said, just a great game there. Next up, we do have Persona 5 Royal, 70% off for $17.99, generally considered to be one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. A very well done game. I'm not the biggest Persona guy in the world. Like, I like the games and I appreciate the games for sure, but you know, I'm just not as crazy about them as some other people. However, Persona 5 was a great game, got very dark pretty quickly as well, but yeah, just a great game. Highly recommend that, so definitely check out Persona 5 Royal, and the Royal Edition does include so much bonus content and a significant additional piece of extra story content, so definitely worthwhile to check that out. Great pickup there, and a historic low price point at $17.99. We got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It's only 25% off for $14.99. Its base price is already under $20, but I really like DBZ Kakarot. The issue you have now is that this game does have so much DLC that the smart money play would be to wait until the Master Edition is on sale, but you might be waiting for eons until that's, you know, south of 20 bucks. But DBZ Kakarot's a really worthwhile game. I had a great time with it. I am a lifelong Dragon Ball fan, obviously, so I'm gonna be a little bit more partial towards these games, but just an enjoyable action RPG, taking the Dragon Ball Z story and translating it for the most part into an open world action RPG. There was some cut content that was like super jarring, like the Super Trunks versus Perfect Cell fight just totally cut out of this game. Like the juiced up Trunk, I feel like that's one of the most iconic, not one of the most iconic, I mean, it is kind of iconic in the sense that, bro, like Trunks went Super Trunks for like 3 episodes straight back in the anime. Like that stuff is embedded in my memory, and to just, you know, kind of completely cut that out, that was a bit jarring. There's some other stuff that's cut out that I thought was pretty jarring, but, you know, it is what it is. I still think overall they did a really good job with the game. $14.99 on that, I think is a good pickup. Next up, we have A Plague Tale Requiem, the direct sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence. Obviously, play A Plague Tale Innocence first, but Plague Tale Requiem is awesome. A tremendous action stealth title, and love the darker aesthetic to the game. The visuals are stunning. One of the more difficult games to run on PC of all time, so, and one of the best looking games on PC. I don't know how it's Steam Deck verified. I haven't tried it on the deck, but that's pretty insane that it is. But yeah, $17.49 on that. Great pickup there if you're looking for a narrative-driven title, but obviously play Plague Tale Innocence first. Tetris Effect Connected, 50% off for $19.99. Excellent deal for Tetris Effect Connected, an excellent puzzle title. It's Tetris with a lot of flashy visuals, a great soundtrack, and just good stuff for $19.99. Definitely recommend that. Stray is 40% off for $17.99. If you want something a little bit more relaxing, man, Stray is going to be a really good pickup. A relatively short game. You can beat it in around 7 to 8 hours, but an awesome game from a atmosphere standpoint, presentation, visuals are great. Gameplay is fairly simple, but it works for the style of game that it is. And then lastly, we do have Opus Echo of the Starsong, a full Bloom edition, 50% off for $12.49. More of a visual novel, but an incredibly engrossing narrative, and one that has a great art style as well. The character design is great, so if you want something to tug at the heartstrings a little bit, Opus will be right up your alley. $12.49 on that. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals that are a little bit more expensive, but man, these are definitely worthwhile pickups. Links to everything in the description box below. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.